I'm worried about the budget, but people's lives are more important than our budget.
Tonight, Kerr County leaders taking a major step towards saving lives. 7 weeks after more than 100 people were killed in Kerr County floods, Kerr County commissioners approved moving forward with a flood warning system along the Guadalupe River. And this is a system that's aimed at providing life-saving alerts to people who are in those flood-prone areas.
We need to do this right now. We need to have this in place before next summer. We need to be able to entice our tourism business and campers business back to Kerr County next year and tell them we got a state-of-the-art flood warning system.
You just heard from Kerr County Judge Rob Kelly. And now leaders from the Upper Guadalupe River Authority, the city of Kerrville, and the city of Ingram have 1 month to present a plan for that new flood alert system. And then leaders have another 6 months to implement a solution. Moving forward, Kerr County leaders also spoke today about another topic, and that is draining Ingram Lake. You've heard about this before. People who live and own businesses near that lake have really been pushing for this because they say the lake smells, and they're worried about pollutants that got into that water when the lake overflowed during last month's floods. So they say that draining that lake will make it so that debris can be removed from the water. And they argue that sitting there and just not doing anything is simply not an option.
If we do nothing, our tourism economy will collapse. Property values will continue to plummet. Our tax base will shrink, forcing us to raise taxes to maintain just basic needs.
That's the fear that some people are expressing. Commissioners are saying, however, that they're not against the idea of draining the lake, but they also say they've seen sonar scans that show Ingram Lake doesn't have any cars in it. Okay, so the question is, where does that leave us? What happens next? Well, that's unclear because commissioners say that they want to have a workshop with neighbors near Ingram Lake. So if there's a solution, that should come sometime later. In other news today, an empty house, gunfire, and a woman rushed to the hospital. Those are the clues that Bexar County Sheriff's deputies are working with now as they try and piece together a shooting that happened in southeast Bexar County this morning. As for the woman that we just told you about, we checked, and she's alive and in surgery as of this afternoon. But right now, investigators are focusing on the crime scene along Hensey Road. So that's near I-37 and Southton. Our Garrett Berger is going to take us there to tell us what may have led to that shooting.
The windshield wipers kept going as investigators peered into the silver truck in the driveway off Hensey Road. Careful not to disturb too much of the scene where a 35-year-old woman had been found shot in the head, along with the handgun that may have fired that shot.
She was found there, but it is possible she was not shot there.
The woman had not been alone. Deputies detained 2 witnesses and a 67-year-old man with whom the woman was reportedly in a romantic relationship. The sheriff called him a person of interest.
At this point, we don't have anybody saying that they saw him shoot her, just that there was an argument, and then either during the course of that argument or soon thereafter, gunshots were heard.
The house appears to be vacant. You can see that at least part of it has been boarded up. A neighbor tells us they see people coming and going, but they don't know if anybody's actually staying over here.
Another neighbor confirmed the house is vacant, but people hang out there and break down scrap metal on the property.
My understanding is that they found evidence that metal, what was described to me as billboards, are being brought here and dismantled.
The sheriff said the man and woman did not live there. They were apparently there to collect scrap metal.
There's metal back there in the back is where at least part of this argument took place, and so right now we're still trying to determine exactly where our crime scene is.
The sheriff asked neighbors to check any cameras they might have from around the time of the shooting.
Send us any video of vehicles arriving, vehicles departing the scene at a high rate of speed, whatever it may be,
to maybe locate more witnesses or even a suspect. Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
The Bexar County Sheriff's Office also says this is the 4th call for service to that home so far this year, and the other incidents involve things like a property tax notice and a fire that was possibly started by squatters. At this very moment, we are waiting to get documents from the Uvalde CISD School Board regarding the deadly Robb Elementary School shooting. And I know right now you're probably wondering, wait, didn't the school district release some records 2 weeks ago? And the answer is yes, it did release some of the records, but not all of them. And that's why our Daniela Ibarra is live in Uvalde now. She is waiting for board members to begin their meeting so that we can get an update on this. And Daniela, we know 2 weeks ago the school district released 3,500 pages of documents, and we thought that was it. It wasn't. So how did we find out that there are more documents, and also why weren't they released 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, well, the day that the records were released, I actually got a text from one of the parents of the victims who was asking where the hallway video was. You might have seen that video before, and that's because it was leaked to another news outlet a couple years ago. So that's one video that we did not get as part of this release. We did ask the district about it, and they said that that video was actually turned over to DPS, which is involved in a separate lawsuit. And our attorneys sent a letter to the attorneys representing Uvalde CISD last week asking about missing emails and text messages. So we're hoping to learn more about why those weren't released tonight.
Do we happen to know what's supposed to be in these other records that we haven't yet seen?
Yeah, so among those emails and texts, our attorneys say there should be text messages from the then Robb Elementary principal. And CNN last week actually got a look at some of those unreleased emails. They involve things like classroom safety and a payout involving the fired Uvalde CISD Police Chief Pete Arredondo, who of course is facing several criminal charges in relation to his actions the day of May 24th, 2022.
What do you expect the school board members to address today vis-a-vis these documents that we haven't seen yet?
So I'm expecting the board members to talk about why these records weren't part of that original release that we got 2 weeks ago. You remember we covered it extensively in the days after we got that release. And so we're hoping to hear from the school board members as to what their attorneys told them. And we're hoping to find out when those records will be released tonight. Our attorneys, in that letter that they sent to the district's attorneys last week, they said that those records did not need to be redacted and they should be released immediately. Stefania.
All right, Daniela, thank you for that, and we'll see you again here at 6 o'clock. Switching gears now, more than 1,000 school districts in Texas now are on a deadline because State Attorney General Ken Paxton says that by September 1st, their classrooms must display the 10 Commandments in classrooms. However, that doesn't apply to the 11 school districts, including local ones like Alamo Heights, Northeast, Northside, and Lackland Independent School Districts because they were part of a lawsuit that exempted them from that new law. The federal judge overseeing that lawsuit says that the law crosses the line from, quote, exposure to coercion. Last month, several families sued 11 school districts saying that the law is unconstitutional. It requires public and secondary schools to display the 10 Commandments in every classroom. And supporters argue that the document may promote better behavior among students. Governor Greg Abbott approved it back in June. In other news now, we're going to take a live look outside. No major accidents to tell you about right now, but there is some heavy traffic there at 410 at Blanco Road. Doesn't seem to be any construction there. It's just, same old, just traffic that you get usually during rush hour. 5:06 right now. Now we're going to stay outside. All right, it's Monday, but let's talk about rain chances for the rest of the week, Adam. Do we need to pack that umbrella?
I think it's good to have it on hand and within reach the next couple of days, Tuesday, Wednesday, 20 to 30% chance. And we get into the weekend, the Labor Day holiday weekend, and we're going to have more opportunities for rain. And there is the potential that we'll be raising those rain chances a bit as we get into Monday, which of course is Labor Day. That's something that we'll be watching kind of in the medium range that we're looking at. Here's our futurecast for tomorrow. It's going to be more of the same to start the day. A lot of sunshine, some patchy clouds mixed in. We get to 3 p.m., 4 p.m., and a few showers could dot the landscape, a few pop-up random downpours out there. This is going to last all the way through sunset and possibly even beyond sunset as we get into tomorrow night. Some isolated activity. Notice it's going to be pretty few and far between, and as we always say, don't pay close attention to the exact location here. It could really be anywhere on the map. But through sunset, we'll have some of that activity and then a slight chance of some of it overnight tomorrow night on into Wednesday. We actually have an early season cold front moving into North Texas. We're going to look at the temperature contrast with this, and who's going to see some cooler temperatures in just a bit.
Adam, thank you. A man was killed after losing control of his motorcycle. San Antonio police say that it happened early this morning near Houseman Road and I-10. And police think that the man in his 20s hit a curb and then flew off the motorcycle and then landed on the off-ramp to this Uvalde Road. It's unclear at this point exactly how he lost control. Now we're looking at crime in San Antonio. Last year, San Antonio police launched crime reduction programs in different spots around the city. And now 1 year later, officers are reporting lower crime rates in those specific areas. Our Patty Santos spoke with Silvia Maciel, who manages a Highland Park apartment complex, an area that was declared a crime hotspot. But now Maciel says that last year she observed gun violence day and night. But this year is a very different story.
Once we started going at it full force, it just made a big difference in the community. Residents started to come out. You started to see children play. There was different activities going on throughout the complex.
In that crime reduction program, apartment managers are enforcing stricter leases, and therefore there are also more patrols in the area. Maciel says that she's interested to see if these results are going to hold long term for the people who live within that area. Of course, we'll keep watching too. Oh, so here's a deadline for you. You have until Wednesday this week to attend one of the city's budget town halls. It's basically your chance to learn more about the ways that San Antonio is planning to spend your money, your tax dollars. Those meetings are going to go over the city's plans for its general fund. If you're wondering what that is, it's kind of like the city's checking account, and it covers things like police, fire, parks, the San Antonio Metropolitan Health District, animal care services, and also regular street maintenance. And here's the problem. You see all those services on your screen? Well, those services cost more money than the city's biggest sources of revenue, which are property and sales taxes. So the city estimates that the 2026 fiscal year budget is going to have a $20.8 million deficit. The other thing is that just 1 year after that, that number would explode to $151.8 million. So if you want to give the city your feedback, you can go to this week's meetings. The last few town halls are for people in districts 5, 6, 4, and 8. 2 meetings happening tonight at 6:30, and then the other meetings, the final ones, will be tomorrow and Wednesday. By the way, American Sign Language and Spanish interpreters will be there. They'll be on hand. Stay right where you are. I have a question. A lot of us do online shopping. Did you order something that comes from Europe recently? Because you may have to wait longer than you originally thought to get that item. Several international postal services say that they're pausing shipments, and we're going to tell you why after the break. Coming up tonight on the 6 o'clock news of an arrest in a Northwest Side peeping Tom case. You'd think it would be relief for a community. It would sound like relief, right? But we're going to show you why at least one woman says she's not letting her guard down just yet. Also, the lines on the redistricting maps may seem small, but they make a difference. And we're going to tell you how redistricting could shift political power, not just in Texas, but also in multiple states across the country. Developing now, Americans are bracing for potential problems whenever it comes to incoming international shipments, because dozens of government and privately run international postal services are now pausing shipments now that low-value packages will no longer be exempt from import taxes. Last month, President Trump signed an executive order to get rid of an exemption which allows packages that are worth less than $800 to come into the U.S. duty-free. But now, mail carriers abroad are pausing either some or all of U.S.-bound packages.
I think it is important to underline that all our members who have even announced the actual suspension of the traffic, it is close to 20 members so far, and more may come in the next days. They all talk about temporary suspensions.
This exemption that we're talking about is set to expire on Friday. And major companies like UPS, FedEx, DHL Express, they say that their services will not be interrupted. Hispanic Heritage Month starts on September 15th, so mark your calendars because there will be more than 35 ways for you to celebrate, more than 35 events. Most of those celebrations are going to be from September 12th through the 20th. You could dance at the Mariachi Festival and also celebrate with parades, and there will also be opportunities to learn history with lectures and also watch films.
With our colors, with our traditions, with our gastronomy, with our dances, with our folklore intensely and happily. It's a celebration.
And there's so much for us to celebrate. The full schedule for Hispanic Heritage Month is on sa.com/arts. All right, now let's take a live look outside. Ooh, I'm just looking at the temperatures. 95 degrees out there in Adam. Okay, I'm looking at that. It says 95 degrees. You just told me that our friends up north, they're going to see some kind of a cold front, but we shouldn't get too excited.
No, but you know what? It is a sign of progress into September soon. And we typically get our first noticeable cold front in late September on average. But there is a cold front moving into North Texas, going to impact North Texas, not make it here. As for this upcoming weekend, we do have some early signals for at least some rain. And I think if anywhere, we may see rain chances rise as we approach Sunday and even Labor Day Monday. By the way, we have a weatherversary. Hurricane Harvey made landfall 8 years ago tonight. It was near 10 p.m. San Jose Island 8 years ago today. I'm going to have more detailed information on that coming up at 6 when we have a little more time. But I want to show you that cold front. Look at the temperatures. Amarillo 78, 65 Oklahoma City, Wichita, Kansas 67, Oklahoma, or I should say Garden City at 62. Meanwhile, Dallas 95, Abilene 98. You can clearly see where that cold front is. And tomorrow, look at the temperature difference. You go from Amarillo at 63 to San Angelo at 96, Waco 95, Texarkana 75, and Wichita Falls 74. Clearly, that's not making it here to our neck of the woods. We're going to be 97 tomorrow, still mid-90s Wednesday, probably right near, if not at, triple digits come Thursday and Friday. And then notice that downward trend into the mid-90s, which is average, by the way, by this weekend and into the early part of next week. That's with a little shift in our weather pattern that actually brings us that chance of rain this weekend and early next week. And again, if any days are going to see rain chances rise, it's probably Sunday and or Monday. So check back in for updates. But real quick update on the tropics. Tropical storm, very weak east of Bermuda. Fernand, and this is headed off to the northeast and weakening. It's not really having many impacts out there, just a little bit to shipping channels. Otherwise, the outlook is pretty quiet. No other or new development expected in the tropics within the next 5 to 10 days. And of course, that does include the Gulf just off the Texas coastline. So no other development expected. Let's talk temperatures today. 97, that was our high, so 2 degrees above average. But look at the record, which gives you an idea of the potential. 104. That was just back in 2023, the infamous summer of 2023. 91 in Bernie right now, 98 Port SA, Stinson 99. For the most part, mid and upper 90s. Comfort 94, Sabinal, Hondo 97. Cooling off at the typical rate tonight, falling through the 90s and 80s. And then tomorrow morning, we start the day at 76 at sunrise, near 90 at noon, and then 97 the high. And notice that 20 to 30% chance of a few rogue pop-up downpours. Brief splash and dash, insignificant tomorrow, but a few neighborhoods could get a quick half-inch to an inch, so cross your fingers, but it's going to be the exception rather than the rule. Temperatures tomorrow just like today, mid-90s locally, upper 90s locally, mid-90s in the hill country. And then by Thursday, Friday, we're back up near 100. And notice we get into the weekend and rain chances come back into the picture. And what I want to stress is another little cool front's going to drop into Texas. And there's a potential it gets even farther south than the current one. And if that stays on track, we could be increasing the rain chances here Sunday on into Monday as well. And by the way, at 6 o'clock, I'll have the recap of Hurricane Harvey. Hard to believe, 8 years ago.
I know.
Remember that at 10 p.m., making landfall. Big, big deal. We'll get into that more at 6.
Adam, I want you to take notice of something right now. Our friend Mary Rominger is here. And there are two reasons why I think she looks really happy. One, the KSAT Pigskin Classic is this week. And also, my friend, congratulations on your engagement.
Engaged in Central Park.
Congrats, I have to join you.
Yeah, exactly. So much. Yes, it was a dream week. I can't believe it still.
Good for you.
I'm just in awe, living my best life right now. But yes, the Pigskin Classic is this week. For one side, it's a revenge game. Clark versus Sotomayor. We'll hear from both teams coming up. And UTSA will play on a new turf system in 2025 at home, where they've practically been unbeatable after the break.
Oh, we feel great. We better. We working on getting better every day. We waiting.
The Roadrunners are waiting and ready to play games indoors. How the new Alamo Dome turf is coming along in big board sports. Well, this Saturday, UTSA football opens its season against number 19 Texas A&M at Kyle Field. But come time for the Roadrunners home opener against Texas State on September 6th, both teams will get to play on this new turf in the Alamo Dome. It's an upgraded turf system that replaces the previous surface, which the Dome had since 2019. And as you can see, the paint job is pristine. UTSA is 29-3 at home in the Jeff Traylor era. Sotomayor televised KSAT Pigskin Classic. Tell me what emotions you feel having a season opener like that.
You know, they're a great team, and I'm excited to go challenge ourselves for the first game. They're a playoff team like last year, so us being able to play that good of a team straight out the gate will for sure help us get ready for the rest of the season.
This Thursday, the 4th annual KSAT Pigskin Classic will take over the KSAT 12 airwaves. Clark and Sotomayor are set to collide in a rematch of their season opener last year, where Sotomayor won 33-10.
They're a very good team. They're explosive, they're fast, they're strong, and it's overall just a good competition. That's one thing about Northside. We always gonna bring it to the best of our ability, so I'm happy to play them again.
Both programs were playoff teams last year, and both enter week one with great respect for each other. The KSAT Pigskin Classic, as you all know, has a history of producing thrilling contests, and this one will be no different. It all goes down on Thursday. We will be live from Farrow Stadium beginning at 6:30 with our pregame show. Then kickoff is at 7 o'clock, and it'll be streamed on KSAT Plus and on the Big Game Coverage app. We'll be right back.
And I have my new Canyon ready to go now to launch T-shirts at the Pigskin Classic.
You're so excited.
That's my favorite part about it. Okay, look at the rainfall potential over the next 7 days across Texas, and it's looking decently promising, especially by next weekend. It's not going to bust us out of a drought, but it's a chance.
Thanks for watching The 5. World News is next.